Can you hear me? Thanks, mate. Sorry, I'm a bit weird on the sound at the moment. It comes in and out. Colleagues, I'm thrilled to see you all and welcome to the last Right Club of 2023. Susan's in from New York City. Liam's from the legendary north of England. We are thrilled to see you all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. Oh, thanks, Anvita. Hello. Hello. And I thank you so much. Well, Emma's joined us from the great People's Republic of Western Australia, for which we are incredibly grateful. Good, very early morning to you, Emma. Beautiful Nora's back with us. So, colleagues, for the last time for 2023, and I can't imagine my life without you, let's do something magnificent. Let's write for 29 minutes. And then we come back together and share something brilliant. Mary, you rock. Let's give it hell. 29 minutes. Bring it. Bring it. See you in 29 minutes.
almost felt like Pokemon. So they
Last minute, colleagues. And we are finished, dear friends. Wow. Oh, I heard. Oh, it's great to see everybody. Oh, we've got the full gang in. This is tremendous. And Victor, I'm excited to see you. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning.
How are you going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, great. Can I just say I'm drawn and slightly obsessed by the pink object behind you. What's the pink object, Victor?
Oh, it's a incubator for algae.
Well, I tell you, that wasn't on my bingo card for 2023. Thank you for that, Victor. That's amazing. And brother, welcome, mate. What were you writing on for that 29 minutes? What was your focus on that little bit of period of time?
I was writing the introduction to a study that I did a few months ago about because I'm studying cyanobacteria and how it reacts to plant hormones. And the hope is to kind of increase carbon capture for like cultivation.
Well, so yeah, so I'm so excited I could explode. And Professor Quentin, you saw, got terribly excited. He's doing some big work on carbon capture, Victor. So that's just brilliant. How's it going for you, mate? Oh, you want to speak? You want to speak?
No,
Oh,
I was just going to say, Victor, I once led a project on seagrass restoration that was looking at the breakdown of Hessian as a capturing substrate for the seeds. And the bacteria in the sand was one of the studies that we worked on.
That's
Oh,
fantastic.
nice.
Oh, mate, this is what I told you. You were meant to join us today, Victor. I'm thrilled for you. And how did you find the small period, sort of writing for 29 minutes with intensity, mate?
It's really good because when I have like an open-ended time, I usually end up like meandering. So it's nice to have that focus.
Oh, well, Victor, you're magnificent. Thank you so much for being a part of this. You are legendary. And we'll go to our other legendary human. Hello, Doug. Doug, what were you writing on for your supervisor, who I've heard is a very challenging task mistress?
So I've heard.
Just can. Just can.
I was writing bits on the chapter for climate change. So I thought I'd just get a few thoughts down, and got about 1,100 words down, and in bits and pieces that I might send out off as a discussion point.
That's fantastic. And building on the wonderful work Noor just gave us in the last hour of Digital Office Hours, did you write with no judgment, Doug? So just get the ideas down. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, I could have looked for references and all that rubbish, but I thought, no, I'll just get it down. If it makes sense later, or not, I'll cut and paste, delete, whatever.
That's fantastic, Doug. We might use this period for you as free writing, where you can relax into it. I think that's a great idea, mate.
Thank you.
Good on you, Dougster. And we'll go to the light of our lives, the legendary Noor. Now, darling one, how did you use that 29 minutes?
So thank you, Tara. So I used my 29 minutes to write about my second chapter about methodology. Yes, because I tried to make a strong argument about why I use grounded theory. I found that this is a novel way for my research to show my contribution for my topics about the Sama Bajau fishing community in Eastern Indonesia. And also I try to find a more specific argument for every research objectives, why I use the narratives approaches or maybe grounded and multi-cases study approaches. So thank you very much for a wonderful 29 minutes.
Oh,
I was so excited because everyone is writing now. I had to try to writing more and more.
You're doing
Yeah.
brilliantly. And can I say, you've just done something amazing. So many people assume methodology. They don't justify and explain methodology, darling. And I'm so proud of you. And there is always this assumption about, particularly grounded theory. There's a few other methodologies. Look at Liam.
Yeah.
Liam and I are the same person, just separated by a hemisphere. But I think it is
Yes.
important, if one is using a methodology, that you
Yeah.
scaffold your reader to explain why that selection was chosen, rather than use it as a
I
default
see.
strategy. So you've done something brilliant there.
I see. Thank you very much. Okay. All right.
You are amazing. And look, our favorite
You
person,
too.
you too, fabulous person. And look, at the person we've sort of been with for the last 2 weeks, Saji, who is the light of our lives. You are just, can I say, mate, I just sort of feel like you've been sort of
Hello.
in the house with us, mate. It's just been joyous. So we are so excited. So both Jamie and I have been working with Saji. I hope not nagging you too aggressively, but you're just the best, mate. What were you writing on? And you're a blessing to us, brother.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I just revised the discussion of the first paper that I finished last night. Yeah, this took me. Yeah, I finished the first paper in 3 weeks. Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I should have sent an email to you guys and just work on the methodology, but I was in the point that my mind was stuck around the discussion, and it's my first time I'm working on such project. Before that, when I wanted to write the results and the discussion, it was easy because I needed to report just one variable and I said that, okay, that went up, that went down, it's higher than that one, blah, blah, blah. But now when I'm talking about one variable, I have to consider another one. another one, and another one. And I don't know why girls made it so complicated. Just lifting with lifting barbell. Oh, women are more rely on the technique.
See, isn't that amazing? So, Sajid, you've been legendary. So, as I said, we've been sort of with you for the last 3 weeks. You've done an amazing job, right? Your brain has grown. You have created new knowledge before our eyes in the last 3 weeks. And what you are doing to help us understand women and weightlifting and technique and the snatch is going to change the world, mate. It's you're doing amazing work. I hope you feel that confidence, mate.
Yeah, I'm so happy, and the women are just this first study is very challenging because I found many correlated variables in technique of the women. So it means that I have to discuss on many variables, and I know that's when I finish the first study, that would be easy to analyze. Man.
Yeah, women are much more complicated in my experience, brother. And so if you do it, look at beautiful Noah laughing, giggling. I'm giggling too, darling. So women are much more complicated. But can I say, even then, I felt I've become smarter listening to you, because obviously, as women get bigger, the differential between the male weightlifter and the female weightlifter on the snatch reduces. So there are many ways we can theorize that. And of course, the other is women are spending a lot of time on technique. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's hard in some points. It's going to be challenging, especially in the discussion of the thesis, not the article. In the research paper, no, I mean for the journals, that would be easy to just report. But in thesis, okay, it's going to be very different, because I'm going to combine all of these studies, and that's the time to compare the first study with the second one, the third one. They have 3 groups. Women, men in 2 levels, sub-elite and elite. Just imagine that. Oh, and then I have to use my physiology background. Maybe just no.
You are
much.
you are a blessing to us, mate. You've been such a gift for me at the end of 2023. I cannot tell you, mate. You are inspirational. You keep going, mate. You got it. You got it.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
You're brilliant. And look, no pressure, Mary. Now, Mary, you're the light of our lives, but you've been the light of my life since the day I met you. Now, what are you writing on now? Because we had the book chapter. Now, what are we working on, Mary?
Well, actually, at the moment, I'm working on my milestone 2 writing, because I wrote 10,000 words for my supervisors, and it's just way too much. So now I have had to cut it down to 4,000 words. So I've been working on that in the last few days. I'll keep the 10,000 as part of my thesis, but I have to summarize it. So I have to get it into them by Monday. So then they've got 2 weeks to review it, and then we'll have a supervision meeting.
Now, Mary, that's brilliant. And of course, you were part of our discussion in the last hour about writing. Do you notice, wonderful Noor, that Mary had a huge, long piece of work? And when we edit, we reduce the length. We don't expand the length. And so Mary is editing it pretty tightly. And that's taking time, isn't it, mate?
It does take time. I have to summarize probably the most significant part of it, which we explain in much more detail in the thesis. Because it's kind of new information about the massacre, about what Wadandi people did during the massacre, and it only came to light when I typed up all of the archives, put it in chronological order, and then I thought, oh, let's just look at it for any mentions of Wadandi people. And then this whole story came out that I hadn't noticed from doing all of that other work. So that's what I'm talking about. It's basically about how Wadandi people tried to mislead the settlers, took a lot of risks during the punitive activities that went on for about 2 weeks to try and help Gaywal, their leader, escape retribution from the settlers
Yes, and look, Mary, when I take you for a Milo, when I see you in Western Australia next time, when I take you for a Milo, you're going to have to explain to me again why this is a master's thesis and not a PhD. But we'll have to be a couple of Milos in before we have that conversation, all right?
Yes, indeed. But it's going to remain a master's. What to do? I've read a couple of extremely good masters written on WA history that also should have been PhDs, and I do think this is probably a difficult area to do it in, and probably those authors were restricted because people just simply couldn't see the significance of what they were doing. But there's a couple of very significant theses in Western Australian history that are masters and should have been PhDs.
And Mary, I'm thinking about one Professor Leonard Collard as one great example of that narrative that you're describing there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that was finally rectified. He got an honorary PhD later this, towards the end of this year. And good on him. It was well deserved.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't have given him an honorary. I would have had somebody go back and work the regs to allow that to be re-examined, to be frank. But
yeah, absolutely.
You are the best, Mary. That's brilliant. So let's continue with the People's Republic of Western Australia. Emma, good morning. Oh, we got sound. All sweetness, can you speak? Oh, no. We've got you, darling, I think.
I've just raised the lid, so hopefully the sound is getting out.
I was going to say that's a narrative for the rest of my life, really, because I'll lift the lid up and hope for the best. So, Emma, what were you writing on, superstar?
It's a bit complicated. I'm co-editing a book, and the chapter that I started on my own work, and then I thought, no, I want to finish off a chapter that other people have submitted so I can get it back to them. They're Canadian, and they're writing about using patients as co-researchers and how trust is required.
Ooh.
But I think that I'm asking them to consider that their version of trust is actually decreasing diversity, because by getting in people that you trust because of shared life experiences, you're excluding people that might actually help you have a different view of medicine. And so I'm writing about some of my own experience about working with women in prison who had to develop trust, but what trust means. And because it's a complex thing in the prison, it turned out to be that trust required. I believe that this person cares about my benefits. I believe that they are honest, that they mean what they say and they say what they mean, and their judgment is good. 3 different aspects that were all important. So I'm asking them to deconstruct their trust, and I'm going through to point out where they're using the word trust, where it seems to be different, and ask them to critically examine what they believe about trust and how that's affecting their practice. So that's what I've been doing.
Right, so that's changed my life. And can I say, Emma, I've always been on my bingo card of worrying words and phrases is co-design. It's not because I don't believe in it, but I worry that it's homological. So in other words, an empowered person is feeling better about themselves by saying they're co-designing, right? And actually, how is the relationship organized and is it homological? Now, I think your analysis there has helped me enormously.
I'm glad to hear that.
Wow.
I hope it works for the Canadians as well, so they can reflect on when they bring in people with COVID that believe in COVID vaccines, what it would be like to try to build trust with vaccine skeptics and how that might change their practice. So we'll see what happens.
And how that will actually change politics, Emma, how that will actually change politics. And speaking of the man that does this work on a daily basis to critique homology, Liam, brother, what are you working on now, just as we're reaching the end of the year?
I've got my queer relational pedagogy piece that's due on my co-author. I'm on the 24th of January, it's due in. I've got about 800 words left to write on it. And then I'm going to send it to the co-author. She's dealing with quite a lot of difficult situations. So the institution where we both worked at last year, more people have left. So therefore she's got more of a workload because they're not replacing people. So I think that it might just be given a bit of a glance over by my co-writer, but, you know, it's been a 50-50 process, you know, about the designing of it, the thinking process. It's been a 50-50 piece. So even if I end up writing it up, her name will go on it. So that's
No, and Liam,
important.
that's absolutely within authorship, research design, data collection and analysis, and writing. 2 of the 3 is authorship, right? And
Yeah.
you've helped her, because I think we've all been on this call in those difficult jobs. I saw Catherine's face immediately, those difficult jobs and those difficult situations, and the idea that someone is putting a hand out in friendship to help up rather than slap down. You remain the best of us, brother, and I thank you for that.
That's okay. And then also I'm working on, so UK higher education, it's a different political point now, but they're making really horrendous decisions where they're putting new buildings over people, and people are just literally en masse resigning. So there's like a flurry of senior lecturer jobs where the criteria has been, I think, lowered. It's been lowered for lectureships now, where people without PhDs are walking into jobs, which is just a massive truncation of professional standards. But I'm going to go for a SL job in this new year. Like,
Yeah.
I think it might be time. I don't know. But I'm going to give it a good go.
It's time. And can I say, I always want people to do well, and senior lectureship is such an important role, but you don't want to set people up to failure either. There's a reason why you have a lectureship and then a senior lectureship, right? But Liam, we need you to be vice chancellor as quickly as you can get up there, mate. As quickly as you can get up there, all right?
I don't know about that, but that's what I've been drafting covering letters for SL in the last week or so, because I've been advised by some people who have got quite high up in academia in the UK, and they're like, no, you need to do this. So I'm like, okay, we'll see.
And we're with you through the new year, Liam. That is absolutely amazing. And look, we will go to wonderful Catherine. Catherine, what were you writing on? And obviously you were very moved by what Liam said there. You've had a hell of a year as well, girlfriend.
The workload issue and removal of being able to be a human is, I have to park that in the back and try and work out what that means later on. But if we don't start pushing back, and I did so very publicly in this local newspaper here in Whyalla,
Yeah.
on behalf of others, it doesn't need to be a reflection of me, it's the collective. But 10, 12, 15-hour days, 6, 8, 10 hours a day on a Sunday, like, we are no longer being allowed to be a human. And I'm a bit worried about that. So for me, I was writing on, well, I've called it Female Rural Research, Digital PhD Studies and the Scholarship of Supervision. So I've taken the preface from my PhD thesis to reconfigure that into an article, because Doug's touched on it quite a few of these sessions that I watch over the weekend that keep me alive, so thank you, and connected. The impact on the student, the PhD student, and one of the sentences I wrote, I've called it opportunistic moments in my life, but I think it's rhizomic movement. Wife, mother, volunteer, friend, employer, research, rural educational leader, whether it's volunteering or paid. Like, there's this rhizomic movement of identity that is impacted when the PhD comes into play. For me, as someone living in Port Lincoln for 20 years and having that rhizomic movement, what happens to the people around me? Because they have determine my identity in their mind, and the PhD comes along and suddenly you're the world expert in your area, as determined by other people, I might say, with their citations. So as a supervisor, I think it is it part of the role of a supervisor to help that student navigate through those movements of their own identity, whether it's themselves or imposed from those around them? But for me, is it a cosmic shift, a cataclysmic shift? I'm not sure. I'm going to learn what it is through the writing process.
Oh, and look, Catherine, that's so moving. And I've certainly felt this with our work with Saji in the last 3 weeks, is this was sort of a lot more even than a supervisor and a supervisor's spouse working with a student. This was a duty of care, that it was walking with a human in a difficult time. And I'm not sure how we theorize that or think about that. I must not get upset. But I think Rhizomatic, bringing back the DAGs, bringing back Deleuze and Guattari at this point is a really interesting Knight's move. That let's see where it takes you, my queen.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I'm just so thankful for everybody for this year, and I watch and comment. I listen and learn. So
I know, and look, this is the thing with this wonderful group of people with us today, but of course, you know, hundreds of people watch and write with us, and we are incredibly grateful for all of you and your expertise. And look, we'll hammer to the legendary unicorn herself, Anvita. You know, I'm frightened when you have your hair like that, Anvita, just like hello. Now, what are you writing on now?
I was prepared. I wasn't really writing, but I was preparing a presentation for that I have to make to stakeholders early next year, based on the large economic evaluation that I finished in October. So because because we work in partnership with Indigenous health agencies within Brisbane, I have to do a presentation to them to show them exactly what we've done and whether, you know, this was in alignment with what they were looking for as well.
That's brilliant. That's proper stakeholder engagement. Keep going, darling.
So I've just been like preparing that because and the reason why my hair is again in unicorn state is not because I'm not doing well. It's because I've been on bed rest for the last about 2 weeks now, no, 10 days now. I tore one of the big muscle in my calf, so I can't walk too well. And like today is like the first day that I went up and down the stairs because it was less painful, but I just need to remove it. So I'm working on very easy pieces right now because I was on very strong painkillers.
Well, you know, I write very effectively on very strong painkillers. So I thank you very much for sharing that with us. No, darling, can I say, I like break a muscle. I fracture a muscle and a bone when I do my hair. Like when I get hair up like this, I break stuff, right? So I respect you enormously for what you've done, darling one. You're very precious to us. And also you and I will record a podcast in the new year because I want to enable those stakeholders through sound as well. So we will do
I think we should have some ideas.
You have been booked, madam. And look, we'll move to the wonderful Susan L. From New York City. Susan, what a privilege it's been to get to know you this year. What were you writing on? You know, change our world again, my darling.
Well, last week I was doing the 5th draft of this article I plan to submit in January. This week I'm on the 6th draft. And, you know, it's the article about a woman's identity and name and identity being left out of newspaper articles, even though they name everyone else involved, even the cops who come to arrest people. The thing about, because this is not directed at an academic audience, I tend to write in fire and brimstone mode with that kind of writing. So, but you know, what I decided to do was leave the fire in and take the brimstone out. That's what I'm working on. And that's actually really hard for me with this type of work. I like fire and brimstone, but it can turn off audiences if there's too much of it. So I'm trying to manipulate and calm the brimstone part down and leave the fire in.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
But look, it does. But can I say also there's a scaffolding there too, Susan, that us being the audience for you and your righteous rage is andragogical for us. It teaches us. So in some ways, you know, don't go easy on us, mate. Don't go easy on us. We don't deserve that. We deserve the truth that hurts.
Well, okay, here's an example.
Yeah.
This is the last example. There is this principle I'm looking at called coverture, which in UK and English speaking languages basically put a woman's, once she got married, she was under her husband. She was covered everything legal, whatever was covered, even names, surnames was covered by her husband. I called the first draft of this, I called that the C word. So, see, to me, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
But, that's what it is. But I'm thinking about an editor and I say, do we really want the C word to appear? Is this the right word to use? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
I like the C word. I'm probably going to leave it there somewhere, not at the beginning where I had it, but it's that sort of thing that I'm working on. The article, the first draft, like I said, all the draft, the material is there.
Yeah.
It's just going through and making sure no replication.
Yes.
There's no, all the footnotes are there. All that stuff is there, and then that it's accurate. That I'm using accurate examples, and that there's no plagiarism.
Yep.
And one issue that I have, is when I paraphrase something, then I go back and read it and edit and make changes. Sometimes I change it back to the original, to the,
Susan, you are very, very wise realizing that. I actually went through 2 of our PhD students that submitted this morning and went through their Authenticate, their plagiarism checking software, line at a time. And it is amazing the dance of words. So your wisdom in checking that is phenomenal. And you've been so indicative for the legendary Noor. You've really helped her think through the nature of writing as well. You're the best, Susan. You've changed our lives, mate. Changed our lives. And we'll finish. Oh, you're amazing. We'll finish with our finisher, the woman who's changed our lives. Wonderful Dina. Dina, at the end of 2023, my queen, what were you writing on for the final one?
So I hope to have it finished like by this week. I'm doing the bibliography. So, but it's a bit messy because I only put the author name and the year on my draft, and now I have to go back and find everything, and it includes like the pieces that are in the editorial book. So sometimes I couldn't find right away the author, but yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. So I have to trace one by one from the first bit of my introduction until now. So yeah, it's quite messy and sometimes frustration if I couldn't get the source that I quoted from. So
Oh, Dina, you're doing well. And look, sweetness, obviously, there's the automated software that may help you, EndNote and so forth. But what I do when I'm doing that work, Dina, is I just live in Google Scholar. I just live in Google Scholar, and you've got the author date. And if you've got the quote and you need to check you've got the right author, put the quote into Google Scholar, darling, and it'll pop up and you're sure.
Oh, right. I haven't thought of doing Google Scholar yet because I have this folder full of the article that I reference on, and I've just been going through there. But yeah, sometimes it's all messed up and jumbled, so I'll try to do that.
Darling, you use Google Scholar. I lived in messed up, so don't worry, but Google Scholar sorts me out. And look,
Right.
Dina, you are precious. So she's just about to finish. So for those of us that have been with Dina for the 7 months, she has written a thesis in 7 months. We love you, Dina. We are so proud of you. And I'm so proud of every single human on this call. I'm sorry I didn't quite get around to everybody. We are thrilled to have shared this time and this space with you. Thank you, all of you, for sharing this 2023 with me. It's been a weird, tough time. Jamie's with me at the moment. He's heading back shortly. Bless him. But I thank you all for your company and your compassion and your courage and your brilliance, and see you all next Friday, 2024. Rock on, team. Party on, Garth. See you soon. Blessings.